Live.
We're good? We're live?
I think so.
Let's check. Hold on. Let me open up a second window here.
You just gotta open up that second browser, bruh. Pull up K-Talk. It's hard to find K-Talk. YouTube kind of punched the algorithm.
I mean, we were just on the phone and we decided to stream this, so yeah, I
Open up that
totally get
second
it.
browser.
This is
Pull up
probably shocking to
K-Talk.
whoever is actually subscribed to K-Talk. Can you send... Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. I found it. Is it live
Cool.
streaming on K-Talk?
Yep.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, there it is. Look at that.
So I gotta wear headphones. Obviously, you don't have to. But yeah, man, could we just like continue the conversation we were having on the phone like as candidly as we can?
Yeah, I'm gonna... I remember our plan for this. I'm putting the screen over my own face so I don't look at
You know
myself.
what? Let me do the same thing.
It just helps so I can be more natural.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. Hold up.
Yeah.
I gotta, it just helps me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna see the comments of the.
Whoops. That was my B, guys. I'm still learning this.
Well,
Hey, sorry about that. I just backed out of the appear.in. But we're good.
yeah. The what fabric is good for DIY acoustic panels, Josh?
What fabric is good for
That was
Oh,
the
how do you know that? Oh, I accidentally clicked one of my link. That's hilarious. See, I really looked into it. I could tell you exactly what to use. That's what's funny.
but yeah. So going back to our conversation, it was kind of like, what do we do about trying to create a new channel? Because you clearly are working on your main channel, and I'm clearly working on like the side stuff that hopefully we'll be able to see in like a year with like positive results, or by the end of the year with positive results. So it's like, do we actually put an effort to this thing that we're just kind of deciding to do right now? We decided to just put it up as a live stream to see what happens, but it's difficult because do we want to put our eggs in the basket of this channel when we don't really see it with like a lot of growth in the meantime? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, we haven't made videos in so freaking long, man. You and I.
Hmm.
Like, how long has it been
For
since
me,
we've
it's
at?
been over a year and 3 months to, oh, not to the day, a year and 3 months about, just because a certain event made me very not good for camera.
You want to talk about it?
You know what it is. It was the split that I went through.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
it can help. I like
breakup.
talking about
Yeah, it was
things.
just a breakup. Didn't handle it well, and then my creative throughput went through the floor. And then I also realized that I don't know. It's hard to do reactions anymore because one, the whole market is saturated, and two, sometimes when you have a truthful opinion about a song, you can't really say it because people will like the fan base will attack you. Back in K-pop, because the fact of the matter is everybody has their music preferences. Like at who at the end of the day would you picture Josh and I like listening to all types of K-pop? It's kind of hard to think that someone would listen to all types of music to start with. So you've seen it happen where some people, like friends of ours on in the YouTube sphere, even on big groups like BTS, you may not like every single song that BTS puts out. But if you say that in a reaction video, people don't take too kindly to that. And it's like, I don't know. It's hard because, and then if there's a point where I don't like just reacting, I like talking about the content after, as do you. And it was like, well, what else do I say that's unique? Like, because there's a certain point where not, the songs that come out are creatively different, but there's only so many words you can describe it. You can say that was really good. I like the beat. It was either fast paced or slow paced. I really liked the scene. It was really happy or sad. And doing that over and over just got boring to me. It became stagnant. Not trying to
Yeah,
back
man.
people still do it and make it their own. Like, more props to you. It's just I couldn't do it anymore. You know?
I totally get you, bro. I got you. I feel the same in both those ways. I would say that the much bigger portion wasn't the negativity, because I think when it comes to fan bases, K-pop fans are pretty freaking great overall. You
They're
know, I
loyal.
I look at other channels, and dude, some of these other channels have like they've got cancerous fans, like people that like the comment section is a hot mess. It's chaos.
Yeah.
And then I realized how good we had it with our fans. But yeah, obviously, because the age group is high school and college, and especially in high school, that's their whole world are these groups. So if you say anything bad, it's like attacking them as a person, which is silly, but it kind of comes with the territory. For me, it was much more about like I wasn't interested in doing reactions anymore. They weren't challenging. They weren't as exciting or fun for me anymore. Like it was like been there, done that, and like
I agree with you with that. Yeah.
It was something that I really felt like I grew out of. Not in a bad way, but just in a way that like you're ready to do something different.
I mean, you look at a lot of YouTubers, they do also change and they grow with their audience or they change what they're doing. And I think another thing that just, it was so like morale crushing was when you do this really awesome reaction. And, as a YouTuber who's like serious about it, you're trying at the end of the day to see if you can make a living from YouTube because it's something you love doing. But then all of a sudden you see like the copyright strikes that come in from the emails and you're like, uh-oh.
Oh, I know. And because it's demotivating.
They wouldn't strike your channel, but they basically say anything that could possibly be your livelihood is now ours. And I get it. It's the music that we're playing and the videos that we're watching are those record companies, but it's still just like darn, that stinks.
Yeah. No, that comes with the territory. As long as we're talking about music, it's going to be one of those things where it's not our content.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. It's a thing of like, you and I have so many different hobbies and so many interests that I feel like it was kind of just a matter of time before we tried and do something else. But that's tough to do, because like you don't want to halfway do something new. If something's worth doing, it's really worth doing right, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Like you and I aren't the kind of person who would just like do one little thing and do it like poorly. That's not how we work. We don't operate that way. We have to like put in everything into it.
So like you said, it had been 1 year and 3 months, almost to the day, since you've made a video. For me, even though I've made a couple videos just recently within the past couple weeks, I'd say it's been over 1 year since I've made anything consistently. It's probably been over 1.5 years since I've made anything consistently. So for me to join back in, I don't know, man. I'm just like, I don't know. Like we have ideas when we talk on the phone, you and I, like we'll have a million ideas a minute. Like, hey, why don't we start a podcast called No Expectations and make it low effort and not do anything about it?
We do that a lot. We basically, you know what? I mean, you've said this before. Like, we are the kind of people who are visionaries, and we love just sparking ideas. But the problem is there's only so many hours in the day, and right now we're so engrossed in whatever project that you and I are independently working on that would we like, even though we say we put in effort, would we actually put in the honest work to that, like for this like channel that we have, the Zero Expectations podcast? I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm trying to access the account, my account, and I'm just running into password hilariousness because Google forgot my password, so I have to like look it up. But I'll do that later. Doesn't really matter.
Which account?
My YouTube channel account. That's how long it's been since I logged into it.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't touched it because just seeing it's one of those things where, when you do something for so long and you see it and then you just see it stagnating, it just kind of stings looking at it. I couldn't look at it. It was just like a painful reminder. Also, Le Cookie, I remember you too. I just don't have my account, so I can't type it in. But yeah, so it's just one of those things where it was like me looking at it was just like seeing me being consistent with something outside of like my professional job was really nice. And then just seeing like a hard wall where it stopped and me knowing what caused that stop and me just seeing nothing afterwards. I'm like, it was like, I don't want to look at this. And then as soon as I would log into that YouTube account, first thing I would get is my Gmail or the notifications of, here's the 30 to 40 list of copyright strikes that you've missed since you were gone. And I'm like, that's what I missed or didn't miss. I'm like, that's just so, it immediately was like demoralizing. So
yeah, man, I think that I think the biggest thing with both of us, and there's like dozens of small things, but I think the biggest thing that for both of us is the same thing, is that we just want to do other things. That's it. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, and it's cool to get started in a niche that you can master like that, but it's also, I think it could be potentially handicapping to start out in something like that because of how simple and easy it is. You basically have your entire video handed to you every time there's a new release, a new drop, you know, a new debut. You have the whole content handed. You basically just have to watch it and then say something. And that's it. That's the whole reaction. It's as simple as that. So it's really easy to do. And it can almost be a false sense of ease when it comes to YouTube, because when you're not reacting, you're doing any type of other content where you're making everything yourself.
100% of the content. It's so hard.
You could spend weeks on one video.
Yeah. But do you remember anytime we did any, like we didn't do it that often, but we got our starting with K-pop because of, John Vu on JJ. But anytime we did any skit, we enjoyed those the most, like for any new releases, because that was genuinely our content. And the problem with having releases being your schedule of when you make a video is there are times where you're just not feeling it in recording and you're not 100%, but like when BTS, when EXO drops like this huge video that you just have to do it or else you'll drown in the saturated reaction pool. And then there are times where it's like you could have had like a bad day at work, maybe your manager called you a butt face or something, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm trying to actually get this done. I just feel like garbage today, and now I'm supposed to say that, J-Hope is looking phenomenal, which he probably is, but you're like, I just can't do this. I cannot do this. I don't want to watch anything. I want to sit there in my own sadness after that bad day of work, but you have to do it anyway. Versus there are times where you want to record a creative video. You may have an off day. Just say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. And when you do it the next day, when you are fresh, because people are watching your channel for you, it's fine. It won't be like a 1 day delay will cause everybody to stop watching you anymore. You know what I mean? Also, one difficulty is when you did do reactions, depending on the groups that you were reacting to, you'd have people who would show up for the group rather than you, which is fine. That's what you're reacting to. But in the long-term growth of your channel, it's like, it's hard to keep them when you're not reacting to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have a very strong value proposition. That's kind of it. With zero expectations, this whole idea was just literally,
as the name implies,
it was something we just came up with when we were talking on the phone. We were just literally just spitballing. Yeah. It was something that I said had no intention of making it an idea, but then you spun it in a way where it sounded like completely different, and I don't even know how it started. That's like one of those conversations.
I mean, that comes down to like our entire creative process. We always just bounce ideas off of each other and just topics that eventually like blows up into something cool that we do. So that didn't surprise me. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody really is surprised that even though we've been off YouTube, we hang out and talk very regularly. So the ideas are always being generated about everything else. So we just decided to say, let's put the phone call on here with no expectations. But then it becomes, well, how much effort are we putting in? I mean, how long did it take for you to set up this whole thing?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. And that's the reason we like it, is because the whole proposition is zero expectations. We're going to keep this super easy barrier to entry, no editing, nothing at all, where we could be like, hey, we are on a phone call. Let's just instead move this over to this place, zero expectations, and see if people are actually really inspired by it. But
we're probably being more demotivational than anything.
Well, I think it's refreshing that we're just being real. Like everybody, you always hear, like, one of the things that kind of annoys me is when you have these really successful YouTubers say, the first thing you should do is make videos because you love making videos on YouTube, which I get. But at the end of the day, everybody's looking at that view count. And if you have 6 views and like 1 thumbs down, you're like, why am I making videos? Like, I don't care how much you love it. You get demotivated. So it's really hard to just say, let me make videos for fun to start YouTube. Nowadays, people know why they get on YouTube. They're trying to make a living out of it because, yes, they still like entertaining, but they're not doing it just for fun. They're doing it because they realize, there's more to it.
And that's completely fine. You want to start it just for fun, that's fine. Just don't expect it to really go anywhere. I think YouTube's kind of cool in a way that it's such a unique beast in this world where you really get out what you put into it. If you don't put very much into it, you won't get much out. And if you put
unless you're lucky, and just end up crushing things in a hydraulic press, and the algorithm takes you to the top.
Dude, even that, there was a story behind it. There was consistency. There was a streamlined value proposition. They had it figured out.
I guess the question though is when did it start? Was it in the beginning they were casual about it, then they saw the income come in, and then they started being consistent? Like, for example, with Zero Expectations, if we were doing this and then you look over to the views and you see it's at like 20,000 viewers, something tells me we'd put a little bit more effort into it just because we saw that surge or something like that.
And a lot of people would, because that's exciting. It's almost validating that someone's watching your content.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of like the nature of how things are.
The problem is we're not putting much into this, so we're not going to be very searchable.
Yeah.
So the people that are watching us are some of the people that just happen to still be subscribed to this channel and maybe still have that notification bell. So they caught this live. That's pretty much it. So it's not very searchable, and it's not creating organic new searches. To do that, it's pretty straightforward. In fact, just a couple Google searches, you could find a detailed punch list of how to make your video searchable. But that takes work.
Yeah, because one of the things is consistent and regular uploads at whatever consistent pace, no swearing, things like that.
You can swear, dude. I mean, yeah, the YouTube algorithm, sorry, there's a fly in here, will penalize you, but I know plenty of big YouTubers.
Sorry, no swearing in the first minute. So now it's like one of the new things that they added onto the algorithm where if you swear, they may flag it.
They do, but here's the thing. It's like an algorithm, how heavily weighted is that?
Oh, I have no idea.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is it automatically that you just won't be found now? Or is it instead of you're on page 1, you're on page 2? What is it? No one knows
the explicit solution. What I do know, though, is that because you swearing, it detracts, like immediately swearing is something that advertisers don't like. YouTube would not want to put that more.
I get it. And but you're 100%
I don't know explicitly how much.
If you watch Tim Moyer or some channels who their whole their whole point in existing is just to help you make your channel, and they release a video just about every month saying the new updated algorithm how to, and every single video it's the exact same thing. They're different, there's little changes in the algorithm, but what they tell you is that if you want to be successful, you have to love what you do and be consistent and forget about everything else. That's it. Don't worry about that 1 minute in the video swearing thing. Like, you can still be successful. Like, don't worry about whether or not your thumbnail is super clickbaity or whatever. You could still be successful. It's more, are you going to be consistent, and are you going to love what you do?
I think I think consistency for sure is a start, and loving what you do is definitely a part of it. But as you know, just playing the devil's advocate, a lot of people do that, and they still are just drowning in the pools. And not everybody can make it just based on either their niche, their timing, luck. I don't know.
Well, like I said before, I think it all comes down to you get out of YouTube what you put in. It's sort of a really unique beast in that I don't think a lot of things in life are like that. You know, I think relationships can be, but there's a lot of things out there that I think it's the law of diminishing returns. The more you put into it, it kind of like breaks off. But YouTube's this infinite beast of you will get more out the more you put in. I've seen that. I think you've seen that too. You've had the most growth in times where you were consistent.
Sometimes. Like I said, sometimes I thought I would, and then other times because my channel was at 20,000 subscribers, that even though I would put a release within like an hour and consistently put releases up, it still wouldn't get like as many views as some of the other bigger dogs, which is fine because I have a smaller subscriber count, so it would take time to get there. But there was a point where I wasn't seeing that growth anymore just because of how saturated the K-pop market was from my end.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it does matter within the first 5 minutes of a release who uploads the reaction first. that's kind of everything. I've seen people trending above JRE, for example, who's a very popular YouTube reactor. I've seen people trending above him that have maybe 100 subscribers. They're a no name because they were able to get it up before him. So the timeliness is so important. And there's been times where I had to set my alarm for 3 a.m. because that's when the video came out in South Korea. And I've done that. I did that about 3 or 4 times. It sucked. It was terrible, but I did it anyway. I did it on a weekday where I had to get up and then go to work after that.
Oh,
you know
I
what I'm
remember.
saying? So I did that, and my video ranked higher than it had ever been because I was that timely on a video where everyone in America was asleep. So
Right.
I was willing to put that effort in and sacrifice all of that. And I think that
Oh, I
same
definitely
opportunity,
agree with that.
it's
I
like
definitely
America,
agree with
dude.
that.
It's that opportunity is out there for everyone. And whoever works hard can get it. It doesn't discriminate.
Oh no, I agree, but I do also think that a part of it is luck. Like I think that that's just the nature of the way it is. YouTube will, at the end of the day, determine which ones it sees more marketable, or the reason why I don't know why some things become recommended for you in the videos, like on the sidebar. But I do know where you're coming from. I think definitely a large part of it is consistency and timing of releases, but another part is just a little bit of luck. I think the algorithm is its own beast where you can't always rely on it. And that's why sometimes things
I
happen.
agree. I don't think you should rely on the algorithm. I don't think you should really look at it very closely.
No, I don't either.
I think there's really no substitution for hard work.
That I agree with. That I 100% agree with. Hard work and smart work. Putting in the right effort. I think another, but you kind of hit on like going back to why like reactions were so exhausting is it was the kind of videos where you needed to be immediate on posting it, which is why sometimes and that's why the quality would drop a little bit. Like it's the same thing with any article about any music or any video game or any movie that's released, you'll see immediate reviews about it, and sometimes those immediate reviews stink. But it's just because you have all these different review companies or blogs trying to just get something out first so that they're the first hit. And then when people actually read the article, they're like, wow, it's completely missed the mark of this film or this video game. And it's like, well, that's just the nature of the entertainment game when it comes to trying to use another piece of content to promote yourself.
The first through the door definitely has an advantage in business.
Yes. Yep.
But I would say that there still is no substitution for hard work and being
100%.
true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could sound cliche, but people can tell when people are being fake. They just can. You know, there was one reaction channel I'm not going to name, but it blew up very quickly because he was a good-looking dude and he had a really well curated visual. You know, with the way he made his thumbnails and everything. But he was one of the fake K-pop fans. It happens all the time.
It's not just K-pop, yeah. It happens.
The problem was, well, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but you know, people called him out. They basically called him out, and he went into hiding, you could call it, for like 3-4 months, and then he kind of just never really did a whole lot after that. Mainly because they were right, and I think he saw that, and he was thinking, "Dang, like they're kind of calling me out for being fake. I don't like getting called out," and so he went away. You know what I'm saying? And like and someone like Chance MPOD, he is not a fake fan. He literally tattooed BTS's "Love Yourself" onto his wrists. He's as hardcore as a fan as they come.
Very hardcore.
He loves it. He saw BTS in person and he started to cry. You know, he's just straight dude, but it was just so many emotions going through his head. And he didn't really care about it. He's listened to other groups, but he didn't really care a whole lot about other groups. But he based his channel around BTS. He stuck to that. And he wasn't even uploading that on a lot of their newer stuff in the beginning. He would just upload on what he liked. And people found out he was a real fan, and they resonated with that.
They saw it through everything. Like
right.
They heard his emotions. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that that's a big portion of it. Like you said, when we were doing reactions, it got to be very repetitive for us, so we lost that spark that when we were on JAJ we had. Like, you remember when we were on, I think also part of it is, like, as we have on our phone calls, when you and I start discussing or do skits together. It's some of the funniest, best stuff that's put out there.
It's
And
hilarious.
I think a lot of the fun was in the beginning. It was just like friends reacting and just being goofy on camera versus just being goofy off of camera. And when we were just that genuinely like entertaining to people, because we were just saying, we had no idea what we were watching. We just thought we're just going to say the first thing that came to our heads, and people loved it.
It was pretty funny. No, it was good. It was good. I don't have any ill will towards reactions at all. It was sort of like the way I'd put it is like, yeah, I did that for a while. I got into YouTube that way. I learned how to run a channel. And then my heart decided to do different things. I just started internally wanting to go a different direction. Not that I hate anything about my last direction. It's more of just...
Yeah, because it's like anything. Like you have a lot of bands out there that used to sound a certain way, then they don't, and then other old fans of theirs would call them like sellouts. And this is beyond like K-pop or anything. It's just music in general. They'd call them sellouts because they changed. But then the groups are like, no, if you want to listen to how our old style was, listen to those old albums. We're kind of over that behavior or that style. We're going to do something new. They don't hate it, but they're just done with it. They've gotten everything they had to. Or like, you a certain type of video game, a certain type of food, certain lifestyle. You may just get bored of it or tired of it. You don't hate it, but you're just ready for a change of pace.
Yeah, and 100%.
I mean, think about us, like even just our living situation. We both have had the biggest changes of pace over the last 5 years in terms of living situations. Like how many apartments, like what? I've lived in a different apartment every single year for the last 4 years. And now I finally bought my own house like you did. And it's been like just a long road of being like, okay, going from nothing, going from these places I don't care for. I'm glad with this one, and now moving to the next one. And here we are.
I think it's important to change your environment.
It's refreshing.
It's refreshing, especially if you feel that you're stagnating or if you're at all unhappy for longer than a half a second. I think that you should consider like, okay, so maybe my environment needs to change. I think maybe my social circle needs to have a spring cleaning.
Right. And I think like a big part of it may not be that there's anything bad in your environment, but it elicits memories that are from a bad time. Like, for example, for me, my last apartment, I didn't necessarily have any ill will against it, but just I had a lot of bad memories associated with that place where I was like, I just don't want to live here. And then instead I bought a house, which was like such an exciting, new, refreshing thing where now I'm going in, making the room like all lit up like this because I want it. It's nice. It makes me happy. So in the same way, when you're making videos, you want to make videos that challenge you and you're like, oh, wow, this is cool. This is unique. This is refreshing to you. Where now when you're putting it up or when you're editing it, you have like a little bit of an energy or a smile on your face, even through it all. And I don't have to tell you that. You know that very well.
Well, that's just it. I really do feel like it's sort of a been there, done that. And if I were to continue doing reactions, that's not really me at this point. Like I could do it. I could force myself to do it. If I really wanted to, I could force myself to do it.
Same.
But why in the world would I do that? No.
And the bad thing is like you could do it. You could totally turn off your creative side and just use muscle memory from all the other videos you've done and just start pasting in like, this is a great song, and just go from there. Same like what I did. And that just got like, it's not fun. It's not fun doing it just for the sake of numbers.
That's it. Are you chasing numbers or what's your vision? You know what I mean? Like what kind of vision do you see? And
yeah, exactly. Is your whole goal chasing numbers just as a high score game?
A lot of people do that. And to be honest, it was a huge ego boost when I saw like getting a lot of subscribers or a particular video that took off. That made me feel good about myself.
It does.
And so that's something that's really difficult, I think, for every YouTuber to balance on, oh, wow, like I got a lot of views when I made this certain type of video. Should I just always do that type of video, even though it's not really representative of everything that I enjoy? Or should I be more true to what I want to do? So that's the balance.
Yeah. And it's almost like running your channel as like a person's behind it, or you're running the channel like it's a corporation and you'll do whatever you need to like maximize views and clicks and stuff like that. I don't want to run my channel like a corporation. I'd want to run it where I can turn on a live stream, I can post a video, and the people who are subscribed would just love it because they like what I post. You know what I mean? I don't have to tell you that. I think you get that.
To be honest, I want both. I want to run my channel like a business, but I want the business to be something I love.
Actually, yeah, you know what? That's the better way of putting it. I shouldn't put a negative connotation.
I don't want to be an engineer forever. I don't want to be working a 9 to 5 forever.
No, nope.
No. I expect myself to be doing YouTube full time within 3 years. That's a goal. It's a very aggressive goal, but I think it's very doable.
I think it's doable.
I think it'd probably be doable to do it in 1 year or 1.5 if I really pushed. But I'm trying to give myself more leeway, trying to lower my stress levels because cortisol kills. And I want to be realistic about it, because false starts are very damaging. And
I mean, what, like one of the favorite guys that we follow, Gary Vee, he says he's 54 years and he's just getting started. I love that mentality. I agree with it. Like 3 years is really nothing in the big scale of things. And if you're still able to get sleep, live in your house, pay your bills, and 3 years be where you're at, it's like, okay, maybe if you were at this place a year and a half, where'd you be? But then again, if you started and you got there a year and a half, notice how your hair's all gray, you have crow's feet under your eyes, and you just have these night terrors of waking up in the stress.
Huxo! Oh, man. See ya, Cookie. Cookie's leaving.
Oh, bye.
Cookie. Matt, let's look at this chat. Will you read anything here? Let's see. Read some of this chat. If I pull it up, it's gonna make it because I'm window capturing.
No. I'll read it right here. So, all right. Let's see. So we have Cookie. Thank you for saying our commentary is amazing. I really appreciate it because it's really just Josh and I just talking. It's not like we're putting too much thought into this. So the fact that you just genuinely like our faces and what we say is very much appreciated. And you have been following since we were wee babies in JAJ, so I appreciate that.
We were children.
But yeah, we were. But James was saying some things here that's actually kind of, something when you're a creator, you see it a lot quicker just because you're on the same side of what everybody else is seeing from the results. And that is, which one is it? So I think the reaction videos were more fun in the past, even just 2 years ago, because it was genuine. Nowadays, people are just uploading videos just to get the most views and subscribers, which is what to be expected.
Literally.
Yeah. And then another thing James said was, reacting to videos is one of the most difficult things to sustain, I think. It gets too repetitive for the creator, even if people wait for your reactions and you want to deliver the content. Yes, it does, because here's the thing. BTS could release 2 videos, totally different styles, but they're both songs that everybody really likes, a Monday and a Tuesday. When you react to the Monday, you're going to look at the video, you're going to react to it right when it comes out, and you're going to be super hype about it. You're going to say that it's an amazing song, which it probably is, that you really like the beat, it's fire, you like their dance moves, their outfits are great, the scenery they shoot it in is great. And reaction. Nobody cares. Like, I've seen it, a lot of less people care about the post-reaction kind of commentary compared to the actual reaction video portion. So barring that, Tuesday comes around, second BTS video comes around. You're going to say it had great lyrics. You're going to say it was an amazing video. You're going to say that J-Hope had an amazing smile. Scenery's great. Their outfits were different. They were watery this time, not fiery like yesterday. It's a great, great reaction video. Close it. Done. What was different from a creator's point of view when it comes to the content they put out? Not saying they hated the song, because genuinely as a listener, you may love the song. But when you're trying to convey it in a reactor sense, it gets difficult to say something unique every single time. There's only so many positive words you can use to describe a video. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And that's why I loved the path codes. That's why, until they ended and sucked. And that's why I loved...
You're going to take that to the grave, you know that?
I loved the theory videos that BTS put on, because those actually had a lot of depth to them.
They did, and they made you dig. They made you dig, and they genuinely made people have to come up with their own theories.
I loved it, because I could really go to town analyzing it, and you didn't even have to be right. You could just analyze it in your own unique way.
The thing
I loved it.
It was spurring discussion amongst the community, which was the really fun part. Like, when you're saying a music video of BTS is good, it's like, well, yeah, duh, it's BTS. Everybody else is saying that. There wasn't anything different. And that comes back to our issue. Because there wasn't anything different or refreshing about it, we just didn't want to do it anymore.
For me, it really hit when it was the 100,000 subscribers. I was like, all right, what's next? Because it definitely isn't reactions.
Yeah,
For me, as a person, I had to ask myself, what would I want my channel to be like? What would my ideal audience be? What is my value proposition? What value is my channel giving to people?
Yeah.
And then what's my passion? And so just looking at that, what's your passion? Let's talk about passion for a second. Let's just start with, what are you good at? You know, I think that's the good place to start. What's your passion? Okay, well, what are you great at? What do you love? You know, what excites you? I don't want to say cliches of what gets you out of bed in the morning, because even my passions won't get me out of bed in the morning. Sometimes I'm just a lazy piece of potato.
You just have, when you go hard one day, you're gonna need to recover.
What's your what do you love, Akbar? What do you love?
Oh, you're not being rhetorical.
We just switched to concrete, yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely music in the form of not reacting, but maybe creating, going more into the mechanics of it. I love, and the technical stuff still. I don't want to be an engineer, but the reason I am an aerospace engineer is because I love space and aircraft.
You've always loved space.
Yeah, and that's actually always been in the back of my mind of doing a science kind of channel.
I could see you doing a science channel like clear as day in my head.
Yeah, and like, so I have these glass tables that you saw me get. They're really nice, but you can draw on them. And my first thought was, what if I did one of those channels where I mixed a bit of me narrating it or showing my face, but talking about some of the wackiest tech things out there and using my table with a camera view looking down, drawing on it.
Dude, that would be pretty sweet, because that like immediately gives you your setup.
Yeah, because I have the setup with the lights. I think it would look cool. And I already have, like, just being a nerd, I know of 6 hilarious things that America has. I don't know which scientists thought of them, but they thought it would like even be a good idea to get to planning phase. Like, we had one idea to go to space was to launch nukes behind the ship and just go. And then to land, you have to turn the ship around and launch nukes to slow down. It's hilarious, and it would be great to talk about, and I think I could deliver it well.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
The reason I think I could deliver it well is because when I'm talking about it, you would hear my like excitement and how ridiculous I think the whole plan was throughout the whole video.
Dude, you need to make that video tonight, just as a proof of concept.
Yeah.
I feel it's like a momentum thing. Like, I feel like I just need to start pumping out more content, because I need to get over my own insecurities and fears of, you know, maybe this isn't the right thing for me. Maybe I'm not really good at this. Is this really my passion? Will people really like this? Or are they just going to crap on my ideas, and then I'm not going to go try to do something else because I don't want to get insulted? And
It's always that balance of like planning enough, but then starting at the right time. If you just are in that planning phase, you eventually are going to get to the point where now you're not only thinking about the project that you want to do and the content, but you're now thinking about your fears with the content that you're creating.
You fail before you even started.
Exactly. So you need that healthy amount where like, and that amount's different for everybody. For you and me, or I shouldn't say that, for me, it's the kind where I just need the loose structure, and I'm the one who'll run to the door as I'm putting it together, and then just kind of build it as I go, because I like having a loose structure where it's still flexible to change. I think maybe you're similar in some ways to that, versus trying to overplan everything. And then before I get out the door, being like, looking at whatever my product is and being like, this actually sucks.
Oh, you know? I know. And there's so much you're not going to know until you start.
Yeah.
You just have to do it through experience.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you could read books all day until you're blue in the face about how to lift weights, the right diet to have, the right way to do the right number of reps, and the right number of... It doesn't matter. You could learn about it until you could teach courses on it. But if you don't show up to the gym and actually do it, it's all meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. It's just an idea. Ideas are cheap. Execution is what's difficult.
And you know what's the funny thing is, it for some people it's like, well, are you just deliberately in the planning phase and reading more because you're just so nervous to start, right? And that's a whole different issue with it, which is like, how do you deal with the anxiety of just starting? Not because of any criticism.
As anticlimactic as it sounds, you start.
Yeah,
that's how you deal with it. That's the only answer.
It's like that funny meme about the person stuck in traffic who's just screaming, "Just go!" It's like, yeah, you just go. And actually, James, you brought up a point, which is why not create a commentary channel about anything you're interested instead of pigeonholing yourself in one type of content? And you're right. Yeah. Why don't we do that? So I think a
Well,
big
I've seen a
thing.
lot of people do that. What's his name? Not David Cameron. Um, I'll think of his name later, but he was a dude that yeah, I love his channel. He's very similar to me. He's just a typical like nerdy white dude who talks about literally anything, but he has good commentary and you can tell he's very intelligent, he's intellectual, and he can talk about anything. And I've seen that and been like, I don't know if I could do that though. You know, I could I really be as funny as him? Could I really be as witty? And I'm like, why am I comparing myself
You
to
shouldn't.
someone who is not me? Of
It's your own
course
race.
I can't be him because I'm not him and he can't be me. So it's like, could you imagine if Michael Jackson never even tried because like, I just couldn't be like these other guys that I watch and whatnot. It's like, well, of course you can't. You're your own thing and that's a good thing. You're
Yeah.
different. You need to embrace that uniqueness.
You said it, because a lot of people, they look at like any successful person in any field. So in this case, like YouTube,
Oh,
and they're like,
man.
I can't be that.
It's a
I'm not
cop
him.
out.
It's like,
It's a cop out for not even trying, and I do it. And comparison kills. It
Yeah.
kills like a cancer. I've seen it happen. It just spreads without warning, and it demotivates you, and it takes your dreams, and it just like flushes them down the
Right.
toilet.
So you've heard me say this, just like not on any recording, but I think every emotion has a time and a place, like a proper time and a place. And that's the kind of emotion, like right there, just having a little bit of arrogance just to get started is great. And the arrogance is not have to say that like somebody else sucks, but just knowing that yourself being like, I am awesome.
You
I
have
should
to
be
have
started.
that to help
Yeah.
you get started. It's like when you see a cute girl and you're very insecure, but you still want to go talk to her. You have to give yourself a little pep talk. You be like, I have something going for me. I'm a
You
good
have
looking
to
person.
choose. Yeah. No, I understand.
I'm funny sometimes, and like you have to give yourself a pep talk to go talk to the girl, you know?
Yeah.
And like I
So,
don't know.
yeah. And James, you made up a very good point. Like, why don't like us? Well, kind of, Josh, that is what you're trying to do. I'm not sure if commentary is your big picture, but I'm not sure that's how you would describe it. But that is what you're trying to do. For me, right now, my eggs are in a different basket, and I already have a focus problem where if I try to put focus into too many things at once, they all fall apart. But I think because I've had this idea in my head and it's been steaming, it's been like cooking there, it'll eventually just kind of blow up, like, and I'll have to do something with it because I don't think I will just be able to sit on it. I have like a whole list of other ideas of things I want to do, and I hope that I can get to them. A bit of it is motivation for sure, but a bit of it is just not trying to go too hard and then end up failing. Part of it probably is my own insecurities of being nervous of, well, wait, do I just do what you do and start anew on my channel with all this tech stuff? Will people like it? So I think it is a part of me just saying I have my eggs in a certain basket, but but it's definitely the anxiety and the insecurities, because at the end of the day, if you want something, you will find time to do it. It's just that simple. Because I don't work every day on my other music stuff on the side. So it's like, why can't I do some days do like YouTube and then other days do music, right? It's really up to me. So I think that's something I'm probably working on right now, because like I could make a list of other excuses. It's like, oh, I'm getting stuff in the house, I'm doing this, but anybody can see through that and realize that, no, it just sounds like you're nervous for some reason, which is true. I think that's what it really comes down to. As I'm kind of workshopping this as we're talking, that's what I've realized. I kind of like this format, though, I have to say, where it's just very zero expectations. I don't know how else to say it.
I'm completely derailing and changing the topic, but I'm still keeping the spotlight on you. Love you. What are your 3 things right now? The 3 big things in your life that you actually want to focus on, because you said it best. You try to do everything, they're not going to fall apart. So what are your 3 big things? If you had to pick 3.
I'll say definitely doing work around the house, and it's not like work like
Home
cleaning.
improvement.
Home improvement. Yeah, home improvement. Yeah, because cleaning is just a chore. So home improvement.
Where would you put that on your list? 1, 2, or 3?
Three.
Okay.
Number 1 is definitely the music, but a lot of it's just learning. And then number 2 is myself. fitness, and actually I'll switch that. Number one right now is myself. I've definitely put more weight in that, where it's like fitness and losing fat. And then number two is music. Number three is home improvement. So those are the three big areas, because, for people who haven't seen this in a while, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but physically I've definitely gone through some good physiological change.
Take that shirt off. Take that shirt. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be upset.
But yeah, so that's definitely where I put the focus, and it's definitely helped in the other fields because my confidence has gone up, and I feel like when you're active, your brain functionality goes to the roof. Like when I come home from work now, I'm not nearly as tired anymore. I'm ready to work on whatever projects I have up until, last night I was doing music stuff till 4 a.m., which was stupid. Yes, it was really, really stupid, but I just had to. I had to.
Stupid's relative.
Huh?
Stupid's relative.
Stupid is, yeah, it is. I love that word because of how amorphous it's become. But anyway, so it's like I'm definitely putting effort into there, and I loved it. And then when I realized the time, I'm like, oh, I have a big boy job that I have to go to because it pays for everything.
Your cushy lifestyle. You're such a bougie.
Chair. You're the same way.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, okay. I like to live with a lot of cool things, but I'm still smart. I have a lot in savings. You do too. You know that. You're smart with your funds.
I mean, I need to do a better job, but
yeah, you got that couch behind you at IKEA, right?
Nope.
Right? Wasn't custom made or anything.
But yeah, if those are your three big things, that's pretty cool that you have it clearly laid out in front of you. And then the big question is, I think most people have three things. In fact, most people I've asked that question to haven't struggled. They can usually figure out what their three big things are, even if they have more than three, like 4 or 5. They can list something. The dangerous part, the part that I only follow up with my close friends. And I ask this to a lot of people, but I only follow up with my close friends with the second part. This is the dangerous part. It's starting to probe and ask, okay, how long have you actually spent doing those things in the past week?
So it's really funny that you said that, because you know how you said it came to me easy? I'm not sure if it came to me easy because the reason I came to those three things as a conclusion was I looked at my last week and broke it down. So like I said with the music thing, like let's say some days I'll come home from the gym, I'll eat, relax, and then at like 9 p.m., like right about now, I would just sit down here and start learning. Like I even have my setup right here, like when I start doing work, and then I'll look at the time and then time has flown. Yesterday, I did that. The day before that, I started sanding the walls. I put in this furniture. Sorry, I'm mixing that up. Yesterday, I did home improvement. Monday, I stayed up till 4 a.m. doing the music. Point is I did break it up. Every day, I'm basically doing some type of fitness, whether it's for those who are watching, kickboxing gym, been doing that. And then, or if I don't do that, I'll do workouts at home or just something like that. So breaking it up, it's pretty even. Of course, I do leave room for my own sanity. So that's where my video gaming comes in, playing a little Fire Emblem. Doesn't hurt nobody. But yeah, so that time could be devoted to a YouTube channel or something. But it becomes, when does it become too much work, and I don't give my body time to be human? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can't be on the ball mentally.
It's
all
hard.
the time.
You get sick. Like your central nervous system just takes a toll. It's tough.
It's one of those things where the 7 habits of highly successful people talk about how your life and the direction you head, it's actually very predictable. Extremely predictable where someone's going to head. You ask them a few questions and you can predict. And the same way with someone's health. You look at what they've eaten in the past week. You can see what type of diseases they're going to get, what cancers they're likely to form, what age they're likely to live till. And I think it's the exact same thing with separate from your health, but your own personal success, whatever that means to you. and how successful you'll be attaining your goals. Because every goal is relative. We're all unique, so we all have different goals, different passions, different aspirations. And you can tell whether or not someone's going to reach those by asking certain questions like that. And we're not what we do sometimes, like on weekends. We're what we do every single day. It's like, it's a compound effect in your success. So if you were to work out and go absolutely ham, go hard once a week, it'd still be better than not. But it's going to be a world of difference if you worked out a tiny little bit every single day.
Agreed. Yep.
Every single day.
Yep.
So
Definitely.
It's like your routine. What's in your routine? What does your daily routine look like?
And that's like, I think a thing a lot of people struggle with is they'll say they do these things, but then when you try to break out their day, how much time are they actually spending on each of their big 3 goals? You know what I mean? Like,
for me, oh my goodness. Like for the past year, YouTube probably would have been in one of those 3, 4, 5 goals. It's been a desire to get back into it, but I haven't been putting much effort into it.
Yeah. And you're coming down to it's kind of like any personality. Like when you're trying to get your own personality, are there personal goals, or are those personal goals or idealized goals of yourself? And since they're goals and not like any personality trait that other people can help actually discern or call you out on, if you say, oh, you're a good person, and the other, someone else can be like, you kicked the puppy yesterday. No, you're not. It's with your own goals where you can't really say it unless you have something to show for it. So if someone comes over your house and you say, oh, YouTube or fitness is one of my goals, and then you look at your weight rack and it's like covered in cobwebs, they're like, no, it's not. It's hard to determine.
It could still be a very real goal to them, but they're not executing.
Yeah, I guess idealize isn't the right word. I guess it's a passive.
That's a good way. So you could say, what are your ideal goals? And then how does that compare to what you're actually living? Because then you have your, what would you call that? Your reality state. It's what's going on in your life.
Your day in the life. How would you compare your day in the life to those goals? Just tell me.
Most people have some goal involving their own weight.
Yep.
Most people do. They either want to go up or they want to go down. Those are the options. And most people try to say that they're on some type of maybe diet. Like I try to avoid sodas every once in a while. I try to avoid this type of sugar or this candy bar or maybe fast food, or I don't know. But if you look at what someone ate in a week, you can pretty much project what it is they're going to be, because we're really what we eat. It's the caloric intake. How many calories you take in, how many you burning, what's the net difference, and that's what you're going to live.
It's the gut bacteria dictating our emotions.
Well, see, it's funny you bring up emotions, because your gut biome, your microbiome makes up a lot of the way you physically feel, and because of your chemical balances. And the way your chemicals fluctuate, that fluctuates your hormones. And everyone knows hormones link to your emotions.
Yep.
But I think it starts with something deeper. I think everything we do in life, from our experience to the choices we make, come from our beliefs. Everything comes from our beliefs. If you believe different, you'll feel different. And if you feel different, you will act different. And if you act different, you'll experience different.
I mean, it's like that one quote. I can't remember. Was it Ford who said it? Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. By the way, it's definitely like when I hear these quotes, it's really cool to hear the inspirational ones. But I think they become the most effective to me when I am not with someone else and I am just sitting here by myself and I think about that quote, because then it makes me reflect on myself and say, am I actually doing what I want? Am I saying I'm going to lose weight, but it turns out I'm actually drinking Starbucks Frappuccinos every single day? And I'm like, it's liquid calories. They don't count. Or, am I actually achieving that? Am I actually making progress in the music, regardless if it's actual creating it or if I'm learning more and implementing it? So these are kind of like little sanity checks that I go through to make sure I'm actually sticking with it. Because one of my biggest things that I struggle with is exactly that, where I have goals, but they kind of sit there for a bit because I end up get in my own head. You know, if I'm feeling down, my creativity goes out the roof. So it's really just a nice mental check. It's always hard to tell if it's if it's gonna go away, but I think it's just something everyone struggles with. It's like, you know, if you're feeling good about something, you're gonna probably want to do it more. If you're feeling bad, you may just want to chill out that day. It's hard to say.
With music, you know, it's like, I feel like it's a difficult creative field because I don't know,
I love it.
It is for me anyway.
Well, I think that's also like, we've had this convo before. It's like when you were growing up, music wasn't something that you were too big on, I think. Is that correct in me saying that?
Oh yeah, no, well we didn't really have a whole lot of music in my
Right.
family. We weren't big music listeners.
Right.
You know, like
So- Sorry, continue.
No, please. What were you gonna say?
No, the opposite was true in my family. I didn't know this until about like a year ago. My mom was telling me, "Oh yeah, to go to bed, you would cry until we put on music, like 80s music." And then I was like, maybe that's why I subconsciously really like 80s music. But music has been in my life my entire time. Where I've even told you, sometimes when I'm just sitting there, I'm picturing my life event or whatever I'm doing with a soundtrack behind it from some style of music. So it's always been there. Where like now, I'll come up with beats or something in a traditional orchestral piano, and I'll record them hilariously. Like on my phone, there's a list of them of me going like just and like doing hilarious things that then I transcribe in an orchestral piano. So for me, the tough part isn't making the music. Like I can get the notes there. It's what kind of sound do I want the final product to have? I don't want to obviously keep it in orchestral piano with everything. So then what does that sound develop in? So I come up with the music notes first, and then I try to develop the sound of like what type of instrument or electrical synth will I use for it. But that's the really tough part, is that there's technically infinite options that I can just choose. And then it's also hard connecting everything together. So that's what I'm still learning, and that's just a time and experience thing, I think. Yeah.
I feel like you're right. It's really gonna be a momentum thing. It's the hardest in the beginning, but I feel like once you have your first album, you're going to create this it's an idea that success creates more success. And
Yes.
I think the reason success creates more success is not in and of itself a success, but that will change your mindset. Oh, I can do this.
You get
And
the
if
confidence.
that's the reason that when the 100-meter sprint was broken, they
Yeah.
used to think that, what was it, 5 minutes and something, 4 minutes and something seconds, like they said, that is the limit of humanity. We cannot, as humans, break this 100-meter sprint record. It's as far as the human body can take man. And then the second someone broke it, it got broken again, and it got broken again, and it got broken again. So many people from all over the world started breaking this. Now it is dramatically less than it was. So it wasn't that the human body needed to change. It's that the mind needed to change. That's everything. That's why success creates more success, because you finally have an example right in front of you, a tangible example. I can do this.
Yep.
And then you enter the next event with a different mindset. And I think that's everything, is what are your beliefs? And if we're not creating videos, if I'm not making inspirational videos, or you're not making music, the beliefs need to change, because there's real beliefs that we have right now that are keeping us from doing what we want to do.
Yeah, and you have a lot of people who are successful, and one of the things that they say is they just believed in themselves. Like even at the gym, there are times where like you're just gassed, and it's up to you. You could say you can go again, or you can try to do this workout a bit more, but sometimes you'll give up, and then other times your brain will be stubborn and be like, no, we're gonna freaking push through this. And you do, and you're like, yeah, I was able to do it. It stunk, but my body was capable of doing this task. And it was because I believed in myself. And I said, no, there's no excuses. We're doing this. We're getting this done. You know what I mean?
Mindset's everything.
I think that's if we still did topics, that would be the name of this podcast, right? Mindset's everything.
This was a good podcast. I had a lot of fun.
I didn't realize we've been talking for an hour. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. I feel like you and I just basically, shooting the breeze with each other.
That's
and
exactly what this is.
just trying to be real about our experiences. And I hope we can do this again. I want to do this again.
This was fun and easy. So next time we have a phone call and we're in our houses, I'm down.
Let's do
You
it.
know me.
Let's do it, man. Like, let's keep it under an hour.
Yeah.
Cool.
We won't worry about any of the search engine optimization stuff. We'll just put it up here. If we get to it, maybe we'll change the name of the channel because it still is about Korean talking, K-talk.
At any time, we can decide to put more into it. But right now, I think I like it the way it is.
I like having no expectations with it, just because it's been super fun. Just chill.
It keeps the work from ruining the enjoyment.
Yeah, because you know what it's like when you have to be on for camera. I'm not on for camera right now. You know what I mean? It really helps having my own face blocked. It really does help.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I just enjoyed talking and just like that's the funny thing is like whatever facial expressions we make when we talk are the same that I make when I'm on the phone. The hand motions and everything are the same.
That's good.
So it's like let's just put it on camera, see if anybody likes it, and that's where we'll leave it. So since this is so candid, I'm not even sure. Do we do like an outro here? Do we say goodbye?
Well, I appreciate anyone who's still listening.
Yeah,
You
actually.
guys are the MVP. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
We hope we put up another one. We might not. we probably will, but it's more than something we're gonna go with the flow. So
Yeah.
really appreciate you guys watching if you still are, and any feedback you guys have, if you could leave it in the comments, we'd really appreciate it.
Yep.
If you have any
And
other
also-
ideas.
Yeah, and also this is not going to be the last place or the last time you're seeing us on the internets. We're definitely going to be back just doing our own different projects and things. So expect more from the both of us. Not at the same things, but I think that makes it more fun.
All right. Well, on that note, take it easy, and we'll see you in the next video, in the next live stream.
Bye, guys.
See ya.